Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Pointe du Hoc, and in this one I'm going to be playing with Val and Rangru. You can check out Rangru's channel in the links below. So in this one we're going to be playing against 3 3rd Armoured decks. I'm going to be playing the 21st Panzer Division, Val's going to be playing the 91st Luftlandr, and Rangru is going to be playing the 17th SS Panzer Grenadier. Let me change this to my point of view and I'll talk through our strategy at the start of the game. So over on the left side we can see that Rangru is going to be taking up there. I was taking the right side of this one and Val in the middle. So let me just speed it up and we will get our troops on the ground for the start of the deployment. So in this one I was going to try out the 3 tank strategy that I've been sort of thinking about since I basically did my battle group overviews, and it basically consists of using Panzer 35s, 3 of them, as the 21st Panzer in order to combat enemy Stuarts. So alongside those, I have an SPW-222 with recon, of course. I've got a command infantry squad with 2 squads of Panzer Grenadiers. Then in the centre, I've got another 222 with recon and the Panzer Grenadier with command infantry combo. So the idea is basically, instead of relying on AT guns, relying on tanks instead. Now this is actually pretty risky because if you bump into a player that has deployed a lot of AT guns at the start, you can end up getting yourself cornered and in a position that is not very helpful whatsoever. So you have to be really careful investing this many points into tanks early on, whereas I would say a more standard play is to invest more in AT guns and play defensively. Here you can see these Panzer 35s rolling down the road in a nice convoy. These are, of course, captured French tanks. Very cool, nonetheless. What's quite interesting about these Panzer 35s, one man operated these turrets, I believe. Both the main gun and the coaxial and the turret rotation was all by one man, I believe, in these turrets. Unless I'm getting the tanks wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was these kinds of tanks. Either way, here we are. We bumped into a half-track that gets popped by our tanks. Kill off an armoured rifle squad before it's even comes out. And this right here, well, we quickly discover that that is a Stuart. And, well, that goes down very quickly. Thanks to the 222, 3 stars alongside the Befehlpanzer. That basically knocks out the shooter in that tank. And we get the kill. Now an AT gun is moving down here. This was what I was worried about, but it's out of line of sight at the moment. So I'm just trying to get my panzers over here. I spotted another vehicle coming down on the left side road, so a little bit worried about that. And as you can see, the M4A1 Sherman is there. So I'm sort of setting up an ambush best I can. Over here, the AT gun does just one-shot my 222, which was unfortunate. I kind of wanted to just like fast move my 222 towards the AT gun in order to engage it, but that AT gun, it wasn't even 1 star when it fired the first time, and it managed to one-shot my 222, so it was a bit unlucky on my part. Either way, Panzer Grenadiers are getting into these trees and are moving towards the M4A1 here. My half-tracks aren't having a very fun time being targeted by both the AT gun and the M4A1. And so what I'm trying to do here, since this M4A1's in a bit of a sticky situation, I'm trying to get my Panzer Grenadiers to the point where they can threaten the M4A1, then charge it with all of my Panzers. So you can see the Panzer 35s now coming up, sit in line of sight, but they can also fire upon the M4A1. The shooter knocked out there, perfect. Panzer Grenadier gets into range and blows it up with the Panzerfaust. Really, really nice. Also, my Panzer 35 took a shot at the half-track at the same time. The AT gun on the right manages to pick off this half-track all the way back here. And now it's pretty much just getting my panzers into a decent position to kill any advancing troops, because I have these Panzer Grenadiers in a really nice place now. I should be moving up this Panzer Grenadier behind all of this, but I kind of forgot to move it up with the Panzer Grens. Now this half-track, once it's come back, ideally what I should have done is moved it round to like the right side so that I could push the front line over here. But I ended up moving it back over towards where my recon was, and that wasn't exactly the best move in my opinion. Like, using this half-track to just advance the front line would have definitely been more beneficial to the team. Either way, we are winning 55% territory, plus 1 lead currently. Val's going to lose his Panzer III to the Command M5A1, and well, there is a bunch of recon coming up here, but none of these guys have any like Panzerfaust or Panzerstreck, so these spears are in a bit of a bad spot. Over on the left side, Rangru's holding very well, and has actually got his foothold in the town, so that was really nice. So over on this right side, just trying to ignore this AT gun best I can, moving my Panzers over to the left side, and what I'm going to try and do is move up this road and attack where this attack beacon is, because there's a Stuart there, and I really want to take that out, of course. Again, I still wasn't moving up this command infantry. There was quite a few micro mistakes in this game, but either way, here goes the attack with the Panzer 35. Just trying to make sure they're all bunched up together before I make that attack, because I don't want them to be fired on one by one. I want them all to fire at exactly the same time. Another 222 going to go down there to this M1 gun, and lately I've been having a bit of an issue with these M1 guns. They really have been spoiling the day. I make sure to unload the Panzer Grenadier here early, just so that it doesn't get hit by the AT gun. So my tank's preparing here. You can see I've bunched them up as close as I can, ready to try and push through into this compound. Then I'm going to fast move them around the road, let the Panzer Grenadiers take the fire from the Stuart, and then allow my Panzer 35s to get on target. So one shot, transmission damage. The Stuart gets one more shot and misses, and then we've got 3 Panzer 35s on target. Boom, ammo explosion. Really, really nice. So the Panzer Grenadier took the brunt of that, and there's only 1 man left there now. Both of these half-tracks in a bit of a bad position. Panzer Grenadiers are going to get pinned down. Panzer Grenadiers don't have to worry about that AT gun, but these half-tracks are getting hit. Try and get this one into range to use its machine gun onto the AT gun. It's working okay so far, but the suppression not going up fast enough until this one's forced to fall back, and I was trying to get this one into range as well to help out, but unfortunately didn't work. So this Panzer Grenadier is pinned down thanks to the mortar. Panzer 35s are going to rush to the right side now. So the idea, what it was, just fast moving them on those roads to the point where I can move them down. Half-tracks are moving in this direction, so just trying to attack move up and down, as you can see, so that I can fire on both of the half-tracks at the same time. Take out one. The AT gun takes out another one of my half-tracks there. So just trying to get this line of sight onto the half-track there. This AT gun finds just the smallest avenue to shoot my Panzer 35, which sucked. So again, another AT gun that's really proving to be the bane of my life. Finally, I brought in a mortar half-track, and that's going to smoke the AT gun there. They try and charge me with some infantry just here, but as you can see, they get ripped to shreds. I also managed to make the half-track bail out, so that was good. I'm just going to continue to smoke that AT gun, and now I'm charging forwards with the Panzer Grenadiers to try and take it out, because I wasn't going to let this kill anything else. I really just wanted to get rid of it. So using smoke here to cover the advance of my Panzer Grens. I was quite happy moving these Panzer Grens across in the open, because I saw those armoured rifles charge towards me through the tree line. Over here, my Panzer Grenadiers run through the wrong tree line, straight into 4 half-tracks, multiple infantry, Going to be engaged here by these scouts. Just going to try and avoid them best I can, get into the smoke. And then what I can do is focus down the AT gun. I got my Panzer 35 into a position where it can attack some of these half tracks. And now my Panzer Grenadiers have indeed found the AT. Got the mortar using HE rounds onto that scout squad. An armoured rifle squad here. It does have the bazooka. They do actually just blow the crap out of that tank. After its tracks were broken, I couldn't move it back. So the Panzer getting out alive, but the rest of them not having a great time. Finally, the AT gun is destroyed on the right side. I get the Panzer Grenadiers to move into the house with the armoured leader on the left of them. And 6 on 3, we should win that engagement. Val's bringing in some off-map artillery onto Sammy's armoured rifles. I'm bringing in the mortar fire as well. I do lose one of my Panzer Grenadiers here, but I do have the Panzer 35 and the U-304 on target now. Managed to get rid of the command infantry on the right, and that's opened up a massive front on that side. Just really waiting for this fire effect artillery from Val. So this Panzer 35 still doing work, manages to take out another half track there. These half tracks just keep coming. This one's actually got an AT gun on it, and boom, one shot again, Panzer 35 destroys the AT gun. And in comes the artillery. Let's have a look at this in the neutral perspective to see how much damage this really does. This was actually some big old artillery. And with them all being pinned down, well, there's only one thing we can do. Move forwards a half track to make them all surrender. Although those last 2 shots definitely killed off a lot of men. Really, really nice artillery strike there from Val. Did so much damage. Trying to mow down the armoured rifles as they try and run away, and Sammy actually surrenders after that artillery strike absolutely demolishes the right flank. As you can see on the map now, there's pretty much nothing left on the neutral perspective. Val's artillery was all we needed, did the work, and yeah, definitely paid off. Fantastic. So now I don't know that there's actually nothing left here. Obviously my opponent has surrendered, but I still need to be wary of this front line and stuff ambushing. Either way, I am just going to start moving forwards my Panzer Grenadiers to the right. I obviously know that I am pushing the front line forwards here, and as long as that continues to happen, I'm not going to come across any resistance. So I can continue to just move up the forces best I can. Now at the start of this game, I really shouldn't have lost like so many of my half tracks to this AT gun, as well as like one of my one of my just Panzer 35s. That was a massive mistake from me, and I should have brought up this mortar half track sooner in order to deal with that. But at least we got it in the end. We didn't let it just like stay there for the whole game like I did in one of my previous replays. The Panzer 35s that died here, I mean, I guess if I reacted faster, I probably could have stopped it being killed by the enemy infantry, but in general I think that was a pretty fair kill. This AT gun definitely shouldn't have been able to do as much work as it did. Panzer Grenadiers are going to be engaging the scouts here, and what I'm going to do is get this mortar half track to aim at, what is that, like 200 meters, 300 meters onto the scouts, and boom, mortar straight in the face. So now I'm moving up these Panzer Grenadiers, considering I've actually found like a big hole in the front line now. I don't want these guys to reveal themselves. I want them to remain hidden. I was actually trying to get one of these Panzer Grenadiers to this windmill, because this windmill you can actually get inside and would provide me a really nice forward position that can be well defended. So there is like little windmills like this that you can sort of occupy throughout the maps. Make sure you look out for them because they can be extremely useful. Here I'm probing with the SPW-222 just to see if there's actually anything too significant here. Going to be bumping into a half track, but the 222 with the auto cannon going to be able to blow that up, and well, there goes the front line. But since the front line was skewed here, I was worried about moving forward as a Panzer 35, that's why I wasn't. But I do obviously quickly spot the half track there, and I'm going to attack move towards that with the SPW-222. And if that's all that's there, once it's destroyed, we will find out. And then I can move forwards my Panzer 35 safely without having to be worried about enemy infantry. So, got some extra infantry coming up here. And, well, they weren't planning to just reinforce the front line, but since we've made so much ground, I'm just going to fast move them up and get them into better positions. Dropping off some more recon here, bringing in some more 222s. Got this pack 43. That's moving up to this tree line here so that it can cover the road and the little gap on the tree line to the left. Balanced Fallschirmjägers were being hit pretty hard here. You get pinned down by a jumbo and an M3 half track. I don't think he noticed this was happening, otherwise probably would have felled them back. Probably too busy concentrating on this left side where there is a lot of enemy presence still. He finally actually pulls back the Fallschirmjägers. I mean, if they fell back any sooner, they probably would have died to the recon plane crashing, so I don't know, some final destination stuff going on right there. These Opel Blitzes moving all the way up this road to drop off some Panzer Grenadiers and take full control of this right side of the map. One of my Opel Blitzes was coming under fire from the jumbos, so I quickly unload both the Panzer Grenadiers. And what I'm going to do here is try and get them into positions that are good for ambushing the road and the tree lines. Also got my Panzer IV combo coming up. This is the two Panzer IVGs with the only 6 armor, but 14 AP, and a Befehl Panzer IV to provide the extra command. I've really started to enjoy that combination of tanks. I think they work extremely well, and it's something that I would definitely recommend bringing in your own battle groups. So you can see the M4A 375mm coming up the road, and the idea here is to ambush some of these tanks. So Panzer Grenadier is getting into position, is going to be able to find the M4A 375mm, and Panzerfaust, boom, goes that one. And trying to get this Panzer Grenadier into position, and that might be able to take out a jumbo, and that would be an awesome hit. Pack 43 is going to just blow the crap out of that command Sherman, and here comes the Panzer Grenadier straight into the side armor of the jumbo. Goodbye to that. So 3 quick clean-up kills there. Those Shermans not lasting very long at all. Just going to bring my 222s into line of sight of that half track. I don't want them to be engaged by the Sherman. So what I'm going to try and do is just move them across with a normal attack or a normal move command, so they can come across and pin down the engineers before they get into the tree line, and they're going to die very quickly to 2-star 222s. These Panzer Grenadiers get spotted. Not too much I can do about that. But you can see my Panzer Grenadiers on the right side, spreading themselves out now to gain as much ground as possible. We're currently running a 70% lead. Now, I'm not sure what my opponent was doing with all of these Shermans. I'm assuming that they just put them on attack move on this side because they were too busy focusing on their side of the map, since obviously they're a player down. But ideally he would have pushed in with the infantry first and then the Shermans, because otherwise how do you know if there's going to be Panzer Grenadiers here that aren't going to ambush your tanks, exactly like what happened. You never want to allow infantry to really kill your tanks, because it's incredibly cost effective for the enemy to have them do that. Either way, they are coming at me with a lot of tanks now. M4A 376mm, a Command M4A1, there's a Stuart pushing through my front line. Just got to try and get units into position. You can see my Panzer 35 engaging the M4A1 here alongside the mortar half track. What I'm going to do is just quickly smoke that off to allow my Panzer 35 to retreat. And over here, while one of my 222s gets wrecked by a tank coming down the road, not much I can do about that. So just trying to get these Panzergrenadiers into position again. Really love the infantry in this game. They look really, really awesome. Taking up the tree line there. If they try and push down this road again, they're just going to get ambushed. So at this point what they need is recon, because otherwise they're never going to see these Panzergrenadiers before they ambush the Shermans. So this M4A3 75mm, actually getting very close to my Panzergrenadiers here. I've got Reihenwerfer now on the field, and that's just going to mortar strike these tanks to try and affect their morale. Multiple half tracks heading to the right side, probably to clean up all of this infantry presence, but now I have fighters and bombers in the sky. Got two Me-109s to cover me against fighters, then I have my FW-190s with the 15HE bombs to blow the crap out of all of this infantry. Also managed to take out one of the tanks here thanks to the Panzer IV-G, and here you can see the Sherman runs into another ambush from the Panzergrenadiers. So my tank's slowly moving up alongside the Pak 43. Of course, this Panzergrenadier squad not going to last too long against multiple armoured rifles and half-tracks. Here I managed to kill another of the Shermans thanks to the Panzer IVs. With these Panzer IVs having 3-star veterancy, they literally never miss, and 14 AP power is more than enough to kill most Shermans. The only ones I would need to be really worried about is, of course, the Jumbos, but we've taken care of the majority of those so far. HS-129 is going to be coming in from Val and taking out another Sherman. I mean, literally destroying all of these armoured units so quickly at the moment. Mustang going to be coming in for the kill onto the HS-129, but I'm straight onto that with my Me-109s. And we're going to hopefully be able to stop that before it kills HS-129, and certainly we do. P-51 going to be shot down, and Fufu Bear surrenders. Trying to get shots now onto the M3 half tracks. Going to be coming in to attack that with the HS-129 again from Val. Moving up the SBW-222, that's the perfect counter to these half tracks. Just trying to get that onto target, and then I can also use it to help pin down and kill off a lot of the infantry, although the infantry already being hit very hard by these Panzergrenadiers in the field. There go both of the half tracks, armoured rifles, now left in the open. I'm just going to charge them down with the 222 to try and make them surrender. And the last squad does, after all of his friendlies have died. And after 21 minutes and 44 seconds, that is victory for our team. So there you go. 2,200 kills to 400 losses, not too bad. So ideally on the right side, Diabolico probably shouldn't have lost so many tanks so easily. Just making sure that you use your infantry to cover the tree lines before you push in with the tanks is definitely something I would say to take away from this. Because as you saw, one of my Panzergren squads literally got 2 tank kills for free, which was kind of crazy. You can see my teammates also doing really well over on the left side, getting very nice kill-death ratios. But if we jump into the kills, here you can see a Panzergrenadier squad getting an M4A1 kill. That's paying itself off about 5 times over, which is pretty ridiculous. Then we've got the, well, maybe not 5 times, so that's probably a bit over-exaggeration, but more like 4 or even 3 times. Panzer 35 really doing work onto the Shermans, just using like the 3 tanks in conjunction just to like push all at the same time onto those Stuarts, like really overwhelm them in numbers. Really works out, especially if you get like one shot that like knocks out the shooter, or you know, just stuns a tank really quick, having like 3 tanks shoot at it. This befell Panzer 35S really did a good job killing off a lot of half tracks, and also these armoured rifles and the M1 gun there. This Pak 43 that I brought in managed to pick off the Command M4A1 and one of the Stuarts as well. 222 did a great job pushing through. Panzer IV-G picked off one of the Command M4A1s, and the other one took out the Stuart there. ME-109 got that Mustang kill, which was really nice. But let's find the Panzer Grenadier squad. This one took out a Jumbo and an M4A3 75mm. That is pretty hero right there. So, as you can see, my kills wouldn't have been half as high if those tanks weren't given to me so freely. Either way, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.